It's time for Recipe of the Day. Can you believe it's December already? I actually remember recording the December 1st episode of this show last year, and I remember because I was sipping on the exact same kind of tea that I'm sipping on right now. It is my favorite December tea treat anyhow. It is the Sugar Cookie Sleigh Ride tea from Celestial Seasonings. Now, I first tried this when I was at the Celestial Seasonings factory in Colorado. That's how I discovered it. They don't sell it at my grocery store. So instead, I buy it on Amazon, and seriously, I get a 6-box pack every year around this time. I like it that much. Now, you can just head to Amazon and search for Sugar Cookie Sleigh Ride, and you will find it there. Or if you go into the show notes for this show, you will see my affiliate link, which is the Amazon link that gets me a small percentage of whatever you spend on Amazon when you follow that link to the Sugar Cookie Sleigh Ride tea, which is really my favorite. It's got like toasted barley in it and vanilla bean. It's just really like cozy. I put a little bit of milk, a little bit of honey. Perfect. It's my favorite tea for this time of year. But that's not much of a recipe, and so I thought I'd tell you about how to make a different hot beverage to welcome in December to keep us all warm. And so I'm telling you how to make homemade hot cocoa and also how to make hot chocolate using real chocolate. Both of these things are great to know how to do because if you don't have any like hot chocolate powder packets or a bucket of hot chocolate powder, you almost always have chocolate chips and cocoa. So you can whip up some hot chocolate or hot cocoa whenever you want. No special ingredients required. I'm going to start with the hot chocolate made with real chocolate because it is so ridiculously easy. I like to use chocolate chips for this. You can use whatever kind of chocolate chips you have and whatever kind of chocolate chips you like, but just remember that they have different levels of bitterness or like sweetness. So like a milk chocolate chip is going to be sweeter than a bittersweet chocolate chip. So you might have to adjust the amount of sugar that you add, and you do end up needing to add sugar. Now, what you do is you heat up a mug full of milk. I just do it in the microwave until it's very hot, but not boiling. So it's like a minute to a minute and a half. Or if your mug handles get too hot to hold, if you microwave them, then you would microwave the milk in something microwave safe, like a glass measuring cup, that kind of thing. And then you pour it into your mug, and then you add in the chocolate chips. It's 2 tablespoons, kind of rounded tablespoons, and then 1 teaspoon of sugar is great for the milk chocolate chips. And a little pinch of salt. I find it really rounds out the flavor with the chocolate chip version especially. And then you just stir it until the chocolate chips are melted and the sugar's dissolved. And that is it. So easy and so delicious. It's really rich from that real chocolate. Now, if you don't have chocolate chips, you can use baking chocolate or whatever chocolate that you have. You just have to chop it up finely so that it's going to melt from the heat of that milk. Okay, now hot cocoa. I will say that this is not my favorite hot chocolate, but it does bring back tons of memories to me because when we were kids, if we didn't have any hot chocolate powder, my mom would make this for us. And so it was something that I had a lot when I was growing up, and it wasn't my favorite, but now I have all those memory associations. You know what I mean? It is a very good option if you need hot chocolate in a pinch though. And if you have that familiar hot cocoa feeling like I do, this will probably hit the spot exactly. Now, the key to doing hot cocoa is realizing that cocoa doesn't really whisk well into liquids. It doesn't like dissolve very well. So unlike that chocolate version that I told you about, it's not going to melt into your hot liquid. Instead, what I tend to do is kind of make like a syrup out of the cocoa, some sugar, and a little bit of milk and blend that together as well as I can and then add to that. So what you're doing is you're getting out your mug, or you can do this in a glass measuring cup because we're going to go to the microwave again. Into there, you go with a little bit of sugar and some cocoa. Now, I've got the ratio of 2 tablespoons of sugar, granulated sugar, regular sugar, to 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. And that's just because cocoa is quite bitter. It needs quite a bit of sugar to make it taste good. So to that, you then add a little bit of milk, 2 tablespoons of milk, and you just stir, trying to incorporate it as best as you can. It's not going to fully mix, but it's going to look kind of like wet mud. Then you add in the rest of the milk, so another cup of milk. Now it's going to blend much more easily. Then you heat that up. You can heat that up in the microwave for a minute and then give it a stir and then another 30 seconds and then until it's hot enough for you. A little pinch of salt does work wonders in there also. Stir and drink it, or you can heat that up once you've mixed it all together. You can heat it up in a little saucepan on the stove, which is what my mom used to do when we were growing up. If you're doing it in the saucepan, you just need to stir it regularly because it doesn't like to just stay combined. And as you're heating it, it's going to try to break apart a little bit. Okay, that is hot cocoa and hot chocolate using real chocolate. I will put the links to both of those recipes in the show notes for this podcast episode. Or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get them there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is December 1st of 2024. I'm also going to let you know that I have started putting the recipe of the day podcast episodes on Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok. It's just kind of the first minute of the episodes, but if you just want to see what I'm talking about and get a feel for where I'm heading that day, that is a great place to go. I am Cook the Story at all three of those places. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookville.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast recipe of the day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.